Hey guys, it's Xander Hall, and today I'm going to be talking about some recent news we got from Hypixel Studios on the development of Hytale. On July 1st, we got our first blog post after over half a year of silence. In those 6 or so months, the Hytale community has been on fire, with speculation, fighting, and animosity towards the devs at Hypixel Studios festering as each day goes by. It was so bad that even I, a political commentator who's been following the game since December 2018, felt the need to throw my hat in the ring and put out an open letter to Hypixel Studios about the lack of communication. However, only a couple weeks after I released my video, we got the communication that we've been asking for, but the news wasn't something that we were expecting and definitely not hoping for. Along with some reveals of Hytale's new and improved combat system, we learned that Hytale is being delayed by a few years at least. The soonest we could get our hands on Hytale will be in 2023, but possibly even later. As you can imagine, this sent the community into a tailspin. For the record, most people in the community have handled the news pretty well, but many are very angry since we were originally under the assumption that Hytale would launch or at least have a beta released this year. Since the news broke, we've seen a lot of people claiming Hytale is in development hell, or Riot is ruining the game, or even that Hypixel sold out, or even that Hytale is being transformed into a top-down mobile game. There are even people trying to rally together to harass the devs on Twitter so that they'll release the game sooner. Please don't do this kind of shit. It's embarrassing and makes the whole community look like a bunch of ungrateful assholes. I know we are all excited, but we haven't paid any money for this game, and we aren't entitled to having the game at all, really, much less before it's ready. I want to cut through all the bullshit with this video and explain why I think this delay is actually probably a good thing. I stewed over this news in my mind for the last few days, and rather than covering it right away, I decided to let the stages of grief pass over me so I could think about the situation a little bit more logically. For starters, one of the reasons given as to why the game is being delayed is because the engine needs to be reworked to make it compatible with crossplay. That's right, the game will be playable on mobile, console, and PC. I admit this worries me a little since I play all my games on PC and I don't want the hardware limitations of console and mobile holding the PC version back, but we know nothing about how these ports are going to work, so I think it's best that we stay calm until we know more about them. However, Noxy has stated that the ports they are working on have little to do with the delay of the game, and much of their focus is still on improving what they already have to make the game as good as it can be. One of the biggest responses to this from the Hytale community has been, why not release an alpha build of the game and slowly update it over time until the full release, like Minecraft? Now, this sounds appealing, but this idea is way more flawed than you think, and that course of action could ruin one of the biggest features that Hypixel has advertised for the game: modding. Since we don't know exactly how modding in Hytale is going to work, let's draw a comparison to Minecraft, since the game is meant to be an evolutionary jump of the genre that Minecraft pioneered and popularized. I think this point also broadly applies to basically every other game with modding capabilities, so don't take this as me pitting Hytale against Minecraft specifically. In the few times I've talked to mod makers in the Minecraft community, they've told me that one of the most frustrating things about making Minecraft mods is constantly having to update the mods to be compatible with every new version of the game. This has become less of a problem in the last few years as Minecraft updates have become less common and more substantial, but regardless, a modder can't just make a mod they wanted to make and leave it out there for people to play. They have to update it to every new version regularly, or keep the mod in an old Minecraft version, and people would have to install an old version just to play that mod. This leads to the problem of splitting the Minecraft player base, not just over different servers, mods, and mod packs, but also over different versions of the game altogether, where certain older mods are compatible. Go look up Tekkit Classic servers and see how populated they are compared to the servers for more recent mod packs. It seems as though while Hytale will no doubt receive patches and updates from time to time, the team wants to release a finished game that can be modded and changed by players, and for mod creators to focus on adding content or improving their creations rather than spending a lot of their effort on tweaking the mod to be compatible with, say, Hytale version 0.5.3 and onward every few months. Now, I'm not going to use this against Minecraft, since the game isn't really advertised as a platform for mods in the same way that Hytale is, but the team at Hypixel clearly want to release a completely finished game as to avoid that problem, for the sake of the mod makers. The 2+ year delay is unfortunate. I was banking my chips on getting a beta this year, and things just didn't pan out that way. But the reason this wait is so agonizing is that I think this game is going to be amazing. But if it came out this year and was buggy, unfinished, and just overall a complete mess, I feel like that would make the last 2.5 years we've been waiting for the game feel kind of pointless, like a waste of time. Hell, waiting a while longer for the game may even make it more exciting when the game does come out and we can finally play it. I also want to add this tidbit that is more subjective, but I imagine plenty of people out there watching this video will feel the same way as I do. What I'm most excited for in Hytale is the adventure mode story. I don't really want to just go in and have basically an open world sandbox with sprinkles of lore peppered in. I want to go on an epic quest and feel as though my character has had a tangible impact in the lore by the end, whether it be saving Gaia or defeating Varen. I want to feel as though I experienced a good story. Usually when it comes to spoilers, I don't find that having surprises ruined for me harms the experience of a piece of media in any way. I had the Red Wedding spoiled in Game of Thrones for me way before I watched the show, but that episode still hit me as hard as anyone else, I like to think. But Hytale is different. I want to be able to start my stream the second I get my hands in the game and experience the story with my live chat for the very first time. So if I'm being honest with you all, if Noxie called me up tomorrow and said, "Hey Zan, do you want an alpha test build of the game to try out in secret?" I would ask if there was a version where it was just the sandbox with no story in it so I don't get spoiled. If that wasn't an option, I'd say no thanks, because I want my first experience with this game's story and lore to be live in front of all my fans when it's all finished and perfectly polished. I want the game to come out fully finished so I can play through it on stream and experience that great story with all of you live for the first time. Unfortunately, that means we have a long time to wait, but I do think it'll be worth it in the end. The final argument I want to put forth on why the delay is good is this community. How often do you go on Twitter or Reddit and recognize people from the Hytale community? How many friends have you made in the Hytale community? Many of these things we love about the current Hytale community is only a thing because Hytale isn't out yet. The second Hytale comes out, the community as you know it now will change forever. It won't be this cozy, tight-knit community of people who've closely followed the game's production like it is now. It's going to be filled with an overwhelming amount of people, new people, and it's just not going to be the same. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I think it's worth enjoying the community as it is right now, pre-launch, because it'll never be like this again. You can literally make some fan art and be acknowledged by the devs on Twitter. Hell, they're putting fan art up in their office right now. Why not pass the time by learning to draw some fan art? At the end of the day, the delay is unfortunate, and we all wish we could play the game as soon as possible, but I think there's a silver lining we can look at to make us feel better. Besides, the hardest thing about waiting the last 6 months was the lack of communication, and now the devs have been pretty active on Twitter and will likely continue to be. I'm sure we'll have no shortages of content to satiate our excitement until the game finally launches. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to see more from me, and follow my socials to the links in the description. I appreciate you watching, and have a good day.